Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison Podcast. I'm your host, the wonderful Misty Morrison, and this is episode 4 of What the Fluff. Join me for some stories of entitlement and unbelievable behavior. Story number 1 is coming to us from r/True Off My Chest. I believe I may have caused the end of my friend's marriage. My buddy, 42 male, I've known since middle school, and his wife have 2 kids. They've been married for 16 years. Apparently, he's had a very low sperm count for years, and they were quite lucky to conceive twice. Regardless, this past Saturday, they're over at our house with another couple for dinner, and we're all laughing, and the conversation is light. And his wife asks us this hypothetical. Say your husband asked you for a paternity test. Would you give him one? Well, I know my wife's stance on this. She is strongly against accusing women of infidelity under the guise of these tests. So I beat her to it and said, laughing, if I ever asked, and I never would, she would probably get me positive results within a day or two, stapled to divorce papers. And that would be that. But I would never ask because I love and trust my wife and know there's never any doubt. I think if you're the guy asking, your marriage is already probably screwed. And you're killing time till one of you finally starts the ball rolling on divorce. Well, guess who didn't realize that was not a fun, harmless hypothetical, but in fact a shotgun-loaded question pointed right at me. Yep, yours truly. Turns out my buddy's wife is 9 weeks along, and he, knowing his count is very low, just needed to make sure. Big mistake, man. She was willing to give him the confirmation, upset he would question it though. My comments were like gasoline on a bonfire, and from what my wife just texted me, they may be separating over this issue. I texted them both to say I was so sorry and didn't mean to imply anything, and every situation has nuance, is unique, etc., but I doubt it helped at all. Guys, why are you asking this question to your wives of many years? Just sad all around, and now their 3rd child may be born into a one-parent household. He could have started with the urologist to find out if his count had improved. So many options before accusing his wife of cheating. I'm with you, but you didn't end anybody's marriage. If they are getting divorced, that is a them problem. You didn't put the idea in anybody's head. It was already there. Probably the moment he said he didn't trust her by asking for a paternity test, the idea was in her head. And I mean, that's hurtful. To be accused of something you haven't done, you know you would never do, and just to be accused of it offhand is very hurtful, and it makes you feel like there's not trust in your relationship. And if there's not trust, why would you stay? Yeah. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/Tales from Security. I'm not a liar, or the tale of Bumdrops McBonbon. It's been a rather long time since I've posted a thrilling tale of stupidity and nonsense. And given I've just experienced the kind of audacity that these stories are often made of, I've elected to share it. The chef recommends pairing the story with your cheapest beverage and most expensive snacks. Tonight's story involves a man I'm electing to call Bumdrops McBonbon. Bumdrops had, over a 12-hour period, called the distribution center I'm contracted to no less than 6 times, each and every time asking the same questions about when he's able to deliver and what he is meant to do. At no point during any of these phone calls did he allow himself to be checked in for his 8 p.m. appointment, listen to the answers to his questions, or refrain from generally acting like the kind of man your niece doesn't like hugging at the family cookout. He was rude, uncooperative, and generally unpleasant. All of this was relayed to your humble storyteller when he clocked in for his shift this afternoon, and after verifying the account of Bumdrops McBonbon via phone records, I simply made note of him in the back of my mind and went about my day. A day in the life of a security officer is full to the brim with waiting for nothing to happen, answering the same 4 questions for hours on end, and placing the screen of your phone in front of your eyes to dull the sense that our meaningless world will someday come to naught but death and woe. You know, general day-to-day stuff, and I was eager to get to it and get the day done with. Bumjoss McBombom arrived in his due time, however, and despite his outwardly friendly demeanor, I could tell something ugly and rotten lay underneath, like a dirty diaper hidden inside a bin of stuffed animals at Walmart. His truck was the unfortunate home to the kind of decals you imagine slapped on the orange wall of a deadbeat, neo-grunge obsessed stepdad, where the tools would normally go. His hair, cropped close to his head in the militaristic fashion of a man who spends his life hoping none of his loved ones find out he was dishonorably discharged, seemed to be attempting to pry itself from his bone-dry scalp and run off to start a new life in Winnipeg. He had the kind of eyes that made one wish they'd pay attention in those middle school classes, where they warn you about the dangers of rofinol. All in all, he had the semblance of a put-together and well-adjusted man, if that man routinely took trips to Disneyland with the express purpose of trying and failing to chloroform Daisy Duck. He began by excitedly asking about the Super Bowl, being played at that very moment in the great city of New Orleans. But when he discovered me and my good coworker had no interest in the event, he turned on his metaphorical heel and began complaining about it instead. As my good coworker began checking Bumjoss McBonbon in for his appointment, he maintained a reasonably loud and performatively friendly conversation, making sure to sprinkle in little nuggets of untruths about his prior contact with us today and yesterday. I simply went about my nobody would get paid this little to do clerical stuff security work, and just as the check-in process was coming to a close, I gave him a gentle and kind but firm word of advice. Me. Just so you know, sir, you could have delivered almost an hour and a half ago if you'd cooperated with us at any of the times you'd called us today. Now, a reasonable man would take this advice for what it truly was. Notice that we knew full well about his behavior, that there would be no discussion about whether he did or did not behave like he did, and that we were watching for further uncooperative behavior. Unfortunately, for Mr. Bumdrops McBombom, he is not a reasonable man. BM. What? I haven't called you any time. Me, pointing at his phone number written down on our papers. Yes, you have. You've called us 6 times since 2 p.m. yesterday. Bumjoss McBombom takes this opportunity to begin a whole diatribe about the security officer he'd spoken to earlier today, telling me she'd said a whole slew of things that not only would she not say, but would actively be counterproductive to our normal operating procedure. When I pointed this out, he only became more pleasant. BM, I'm not a liar. I swear on my daughter's life, I'm not lying. This was followed by nearly 45 seconds of complaining, accusations, and general unpleasantness from Bumdrops McBombom. The kind of floundering, untrustworthy men love to do in the time between being confronted about their love affair and loudly crying Studio Ghibli-sized tears while screaming about the unfairness of the world. It was beautiful to watch, but very much confirmed that Mr. McBombom could not and or would not cooperate. Me. So because of your behavior today and because of what you've been acting like in front of us right now, you're not going to be delivering here today. What followed was 2 rapid changes in tact from Bumdrops McBombom. He at first took the news in stride, climbing back up into his California-certified clean idle 18-wheeler in a calm and measured state. As soon as he was within the safety of the biggest truck someone else's money can buy, however, he completely changed his tune. In the same way that dogs will only growl at other dogs through the security of a glass window, Mr. McBombom began loudly cursing and screaming at me, the kind of profanity that would give Samuel L. Jackson the hiccups. The inane range of a man-child who learned social decorum from Call of Duty lobbies circa 2007. The complete asinine threats of violence and vulgar invitations to sex acts that only come from Neanderthals who've never thought to wash the drywall dust from their knuckles. It is unfortunate Mr. McBombom will never be allowed at my workplace again. Even now, my heart is breaking, shattering into a million pieces at the thought of being without the dumpy, moronic imbecile who could only utter the phrase, "Suck my mother effer," from behind a locked door. Nevertheless, I shall persevere. Edit for grammar and punctuation. That was so well written. Truly well done, OP. That was a lovely story made even better by the fact that you turned it into a very entertaining novel. Story number 3 is coming to us from r/I do work here lady. Either accept my answer or don't ask me. Not sure if this goes here, but wife said I should share this story. When I was in college, I worked for a particular department store, and one holiday season we were short-staffed. Well, to be honest, we were short-staffed every holiday season. So I volunteered to stay over to help. I clocked in at 4 a.m., and it was 5:30 p.m. at this point, and I'm set to do the whole song and dance again the next day. So needless to say, I was tired and just wanted to go home. As I'm leaving, a manager for a different division, women's, calls me over because a customer can't find a particular item in my division, men's. I inform her and the customer we don't carry that item. In front of the customer, the manager turns and says, "Don't listen to him, he doesn't know what he's talking about." So I snapped, "Listen, I've been here 12 hours because you can't keep people staffed. I've worked my area for 3 years. I know every type of product we carry. We don't carry the damn thing. If you want to bother me when I'm not working to ask me a question you could answer yourself by walking less than 100 feet, then accept my answer or don't bother me." And walked out of the store. I obviously was called by my store manager and told what I said was unacceptable. I asked if I was fired, and she said no, but this was going to be a written warning, and if I got another, I would face termination. I said, "Fine. Never expect me to put any additional effort in. No more staying late, no more asking about credit card applications, no more measuring men for suits because I'm literally the only person in the store who knows how for some reason, and yet don't get commissions on suits like I would at another location for the same company. I will stand at my register and check people out." She started sputtering, probably about to fire me or something, when I cut her off. "One last thing. Was I wrong? Do we carry that product? Have we, in the 3 years I've worked here, carried it?" The answer is no. I was already planning on leaving once the spring semester was over and did not care if they fired me. I could work as a tutor or note taker for my college. That combined with unemployment would cover my expenses for at least the last few months. But as it played out, I got the warning and that was it. I, however, did the bare minimum from then until I was out of school. Good for you. I mean, you were honest. It sounds like you were already clocked out. And what the fluff? Like, you ask the question, you give the answer. "Oh, don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about." If you thought he didn't know, why'd you ask? That's dumb. That's just dumb. I think you were right. I really love that you responded this way and that you had the guts to tell them all what you thought. And just be upfront about the fact that you were going to do the bare minimum. I love that they didn't fire you for it, and also that they probably really suffered because you're apparently one of the workers who knows all the things and can do all the things and is willing to put the work in until they mess with you. And that's fair. That's fair. Story number 4 is coming to us from r/bridezillas. My future sister-in-law is the reason I'm canceling my wedding and instead doing a destination wedding. Hi, I'm using a fake account because several of my in-laws are aware of my other account. So, I am female 31, my now husband is male 30, and my sister-in-law is female 19. My husband does not have the best relationship with his sister due to his parents favoring her. Mother-in-law, female 59, father-in-law, male 59. A little background, my husband's parents were having marital issues and heading for divorce around the time my husband's sister was conceived. When they found out that they were pregnant, they decided to seek counseling and get help. In the end, they resolved their problems and their relationship became stronger. They view their daughter as the reason they were able to save their marriage. She is spoiled. Some examples. They got her a car for her birthday. She totaled in 4 days. She borrowed her mom's car after and had it towed too. Due to her reckless driving, the insurance company will not allow her to be insured under her parents. We were dating at the time when his mother asked my husband if he could please put her on his insurance and she would pay. My husband at the time was buying a new car and didn't want to deal with this situation and told his mother no. Another example was we had gotten tickets to see Taylor Swift in Europe for a vacation alone. His sister found out and demanded that she go instead of me. His father called and demanded that we change our plans, and he takes his sister. My husband said he could not do that because he didn't pay for the vacation or the tickets. My parents did. We were harassed for months for this. Finally, 3 months after we were engaged, we visited his parents. At the time, his sister had a friend living with her and her parents, female 17. This friend developed a crush on my husband. He was extremely uncomfortable with the girl's attention towards him. His sister wanted them to date and asked his parents to talk to him about it. He refused and said he was engaged and is not interested in teen girls. Now to the wedding. My in-laws are only attending if I make my sister-in-law a bridesmaid. I agreed to keep the piece and gave it to her as an honorary role and don't expect her to be involved as much as my other bridesmaids. The problem started immediately. First, she was flirting with another bridesmaid's boyfriend and sending him inappropriate text. We don't know how she got the number. She refused to walk with her cousin, who is a groomsman, and tried to get her parents involved to switch to walk next to the best man and bump my maid of honor. Her reason was because she couldn't hook up with her cousin. The best man is currently in a long-term relationship with the maid of honor, and they are how we met. The final straw was with what she did to my maid of honor. My maid of honor is my cousin and my best friend. My maid of honor is the same age as me. We are born 3 months apart to the day. We get mistaken as sister, or sometimes our extended family mixes us up. Our moms are sisters. I am protective of my maid of honor and the godmother to her children. My maid of honor is hard of hearing and has to wear hearing aids due to an infection she had as a child. My maid of honor sometimes talks loud because she can't hear and judge her own volume. She doesn't have any accent. She had to do speech therapy for years as a child and had to attend a school for children with hearing disabilities until middle school. My sister-in-law has been teasing my maid of honor nonstop, yelling and saying I just wanted to make sure she heard me. She made reference to my godchildren being born out of wedlock and said her boyfriend, the best man and the father of her children, will come to his senses and find a tight woman. My maid of honor has been quiet about all this because she doesn't want to cause problems for me and my in-laws. I found out because my other bridesmaids told me after the bridal shower. At the bridal shower, my husband and myself both were aware and gave our blessing to have his best man propose to my cousin, the maid of honor. It happened and everyone was excited except for my sister-in-law. The final straw was when my maid of honor was heading back to the table. She took out her hearing aids because the music was causing her a headache. The hearing aids were in a glass of water with my sister-in-law laughing. I was done and removed her from the wedding party and disinvited her from the wedding unless she is in therapy. My in-laws were blowing up our phones, say that their daughter was only joking around and that's her sense of humor, and my maid of honor can't take a joke. They said if she cannot come to the wedding, they will not come. This has been going on 4 months. Few updates. 24 hours later, from the bridal shower, I call my fiancé, my husband, because we are technically legally married. We just didn't have a ceremony yet. This was done earlier in the year for insurance issues. 2. My maid of honor, my cousin, was able to get her hearing aids replaced by her audiologist. She had them insured. My husband covered the deductible, not for his sister's sake, but because he cares for my cousin and is embarrassed. My husband's family is on our side. Apparently, we have been flooded with phone calls and messages of support from his family. The reason why, because they also have stories of how badly my sister-in-law has acted towards them. My husband has already said that. My family is his, and anyone who mistreats anyone I care about is not his people. We have decided, with the help of our wedding planning, to do a destination wedding, pushing the wedding date back 6 months in Hawaii. We got most of our deposits back. Family is helping with the rest. My husband has called his parents and told them they're not invited, and his sister will not be invited. They are livid and have started, as of an hour ago, going to social media to tell their side of the story. They claim that their daughter was just making jokes and pranks. Nobody has been buying it. They tried to contact my parents, who shut them down immediately. We have other family members who are also hard of hearing or deaf due to a genetic condition that runs in the family. Most of the family is hearing, but everyone looks out for the members that are not. They are embarrassed and hung up the phone. This is where we are now, and we'll update if things change. Some small updates. 11:15, we are no contact with my husband's parents or sister. We get updates from my husband's aunt, his father's sister. First, my maid of honor hearing aids are replaced after talking to her and asking what she wants to do. She doesn't want to be involved in a lawsuit or anything going forward, so long as she is left alone by my husband's sister. She doesn't want any negative energy in her life. I'm going to respect her boundaries on this matter. However, if anything happens, she will file a restraining order against my husband's sister. As for my mother-in-law and father-in-law, as per my husband's aunts, they are in a bind. They came crying to my husband's aunt. Apparently, their insurance company found out they were letting their daughter drive their cars, even though they were warned she would not be insured under their policy, and the insurance company dropped them. We don't know if sister-in-law got into another accident or someone reported this to the insurance company. However, they were sobbing to my husband's aunt they are struggling to find an insurance policy they can afford. My husband's aunt was tired of hearing the sob stories and brought up the bridal shower incident and how her own daughter has been bullied by sister-in-law. She was embarrassed for her nephew, my husband. My mother-in-law and father-in-law said that sister-in-law confessed she was jealous of my maid of honor's relationship with the best man. She apparently had a long crush on him and was upset that he was getting engaged to maid of honor. Mother-in-law and father-in-law tried to excuse this behavior as a teenage girl acting out. My husband's aunt was having none of it and told them that they ruined their daughter and probably ruined their relationship with my husband and any future with us. My husband's aunt asked them to leave and said she hopes they get everything they deserve for how they treat their children. She was not going to help them with their insurance problems. My husband's cousin, 20 years old and a lovely girl, she's a beauty queen and a makeup artist. My husband's sister was known for breaking her makeup palettes and beauty supplies out of jealousy. My husband's aunt doesn't allow my sister-in-law over to their house and will lock the doors to certain rooms in her house during family gatherings because of several incidents in the past. Now for sister-in-law. She still lives with my in-laws. She lost her job, nobody knows why, and frankly, I don't care to know. She is not in college due to poor grades and lack of direction. She blames me for her family not talking to her and being kicked out of the wedding party, and I'm proud I did so she can blame me as much as she likes. As for our wedding celebration, we are doing a small ceremony on the beach, and any family that wishes to come can book a hotel on the main island. We are not going to give the location of the wedding or the reception until the day of the wedding, except for the wedding party, and we will hire security. I'll update you when it happens or anything else happens. And there's nothing else on it. Whew, that was a lot. Sister-in-law is crazy. She was already ridiculous, but as soon as she put the medically necessary hearing aids in the water glass, I was done with sister-in-law. So done with her. That was completely uncalled for, completely disrespectful, and the parents are no better for trying to play it off as, oh, it was just a joke. It's not a joke, it's destruction of property. It is destruction of property, and you made her life harder because she didn't have hearing aids until she could get them replaced. Outrageous behavior. Really excited for you guys that you're going to Hawaii for your wedding. This was posted 161 days ago from the day I'm recording, so I'm sure you have already been to Hawaii and loved it. I hope everything went so well, and the people you are in no contact with did not show up. That is so, and the 2 cars she totaled, like 4 days after you got it, you totaled it? What are you doing? Oh, that was a lot. I'm glad it had a happy ending. I'm just scrolling back through it because there's so much in there. But I'm glad it worked out in the end. I'm glad it had a happy ending. Your maid of honor was okay. Happy for them too that they got engaged. And I'm so happy for you guys that mother-in-law, father-in-law, and sister-in-law are no longer in your life because I'm sure your life is so much quieter now. All right, that is us done for this episode of What the Fluff. Thank you for tuning in. If you are listening on podcast, leave a 5-star review. If you like the content, share it with your friends. If you are watching on YouTube, leave a comment down below with what you thought of these outrageous stories. Like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe for more. And I will see you next time on another episode of the Misty Morrison Podcast. Thanks for being here. Bye.